No one expected the Terran delegation to leave the chamber in silence. The Galactic Council, a body that had navigated centuries of conflict through treaties and compromise, sat frozen as the humans walked out, expressionless, unreadable, final. For decades, humanity had been the steady hand in turbulent times, always favoring logic, peace, and unity. But today, with a simple refusal to negotiate, they shattered the very foundations of galactic diplomacy. The silence they left behind spoke louder than any declaration of war. Panic spread like wildfire. Emergency sessions were called. Entire fleets were put on alert. Some species begged for communication, others prepared for evacuation. Whispers echoed across every corner of the known galaxy. If the humans are done talking, what comes next? Because history had proven one terrifying truth: when Earth stops using words, it starts using force. And when that force moves, there's no safe place left to hide one. The silence before the storm, the Galactic Council was founded on the principle that diplomacy could overcome war, that reason could outmatch conflict. For over 700 standard years, it had succeeded. 10,000 disputes resolved, hundreds of alliances formed, and only 3 major wars in nearly a millennium. Its shining achievement was the Unified Accord, a legal and ethical framework adopted by over 1,200 species across known space. It was the heart of galactic civilization. And then came humanity. They arrived late. Barely 300 years ago, Earth activated its first FTL, faster-than-light gateway, stumbling into the galactic fold like a child in a palace of titans. At first, the other species scoffed. Humans were technologically behind, culturally chaotic, and disturbingly adaptable. Yet within 150 years, Earth had joined every major economic forum, led 4 successful peacekeeping missions, and helped stop the collapse of the Alari-Fen trade corridor by rebuilding its collapsed wormhole system. Humans brought no empires, no vast fleets, just relentless logic, collaboration, and creativity. But they also brought something darker, a terrifying clarity about boundaries. When Earth said a line could not be crossed, it meant it. There were no second warnings, no prolonged negotiations. Just silence and then consequences. Most species, over time, learned to respect that. A few forgot, like the Varnak. The incident the Varnak Syndicate was not a formal empire, but a loose coalition of corporate clans known for their mining operations. They were ruthless, efficient, and extremely wealthy. They also believed they were too valuable to be challenged. So when one of their deep space survey ships accidentally entered a Terran-protected sector in the Triver Expanse, they expected the usual response, a diplomatic warning, perhaps a trade fine. Instead, Earth deployed 3 of its capital class dreadnoughts and locked the region under a Level 6 silence protocol. No ships in or out, no explanation, no response to Varnak queries. When the Council intervened, expecting the usual measured discussion, Earth sent a single line of communication: "Our sovereignty has been violated. No further discussion will occur." The Council was stunned. They invited Earth to a special session. Humanity sent 4 envoys in formal diplomatic dress. When asked to present their case, the humans remained silent. Then they stood and left, and the galaxy panicked. 3. Fear spreads. The first to react were the neighbors. The Tellarime Alliance issued a fleet recall from bordering sectors. The Alari-Fen trade guild suspended operations near the Triver border. Across the spiral arm, political bodies entered emergency sessions. Terran behavior had always been consistent. Rational, clear, and swift. When they stopped talking, it meant a decision had already been made. The Varnak tried to apologize publicly and privately. They claimed it was a misunderstanding. They offered reparations, gifts, mining rights, even a permanent diplomatic outpost in their capital city. Earth did not respond. Worse, Earth's AI diplomacy interface, Athena, returned a chilling message: "Matter is considered resolved." No further engagement necessary. But there had been no resolution, no closure. And that's what terrified everyone. The lessons of history. Galactic species began to revisit old Terran records. Earth's past conflicts were unlike anything seen in the stars. When the Veltor Empire ignored a Terran trade blockade 63 years ago, humanity responded with a surgical strike that left the Veltor High Command missing. No destruction, no death. Tolls, just a complete disappearance of leadership and strategic assets. To this day, no one knows how they did it. Then there was the case of the Brechtal war brokers, who had funded a genocide on a Terran-aligned colony in the outer reaches. Earth didn't even go to war. They simply unleashed an economic AI weapon that crashed Brechtal financial systems in under 36 hours. The species descended into civil war within a week. Humans never threatened. They acted. The Council cracks. The Galactic Council fractured under the pressure. Some factions demanded a direct appeal to Earth's civilian leadership. Others begged the Council to sanction the Varnak to appease the humans. A few warmongers even suggested preparing for Terran aggression. The Andoran Hive Queen, one of the Council's most respected members, spoke what many feared. They have passed judgment. They will not declare war. They will do something worse. They will teach a lesson. Meanwhile, Earth remained outwardly passive. Trade routes stayed open. Embassies were fully staffed. Earth even launched a scientific mission to the Ravelon Expanse during the crisis. Yet their ships continued to amass quietly at the border of the Varnak sectors. The civilian message, then came the final message. It was not delivered by a general, a president, or an AI. It came from Dr. Naomi Vestra, chair of Earth's Ethics and Oversight Council, a civilian scientist. Not a soldier. She appeared on a multi-channel broadcast that reached every council system. We regret that our refusal to engage has caused distress. However, humanity is no longer participating in this matter through council mechanisms. Our sovereignty was tested. Our response is in motion. This is not a war. It is a correction. To those who have respected our silence, thank you. Remain uninvolved. The correction will be precise, proportionate, and limited. Within the hour, Earth's fleet moved. The operation lasted 6 hours at no casualties. No planetary strikes. No orbital bombardment. Earth's ships disabled the Varnak Syndicate's data networks, scrambled their internal AI regulators, and extracted digital records of espionage from the Varnak homeworld. The main Varnak Council building went dark. Its leadership 15 CEOs were taken, quietly. When the Council demanded answers, Earth released a simple report. Those responsible for violating our space and misleading the Council have been detained. The Varnak people remain unharmed. Their sovereignty remains intact. The matter is closed. Panic turned to awe. The galaxy had just seen an empire disciplined without destruction. Aftermath and balance. The Council convened a final session. Human envoys returned, not with demands, but with suggestions, clearer border protocols, real-time monitoring of exploration fleets, and mandatory ethics audits for high-risk corporate entities. Every suggestion was unanimously approved. The Varnak Syndicate was restructured by internal reformers. Trade resumed. Peace held. Humanity had proven again that war was not their tool of choice. But when forced, they did not rely on emotion or chaos. They relied on precision, ethics, and absolute finality. And perhaps that is what the galaxy feared most. Not the violence of humans, but their ability to wage peace with terrifying resolve. Months after the Varnak correction, the shockwave of Earth's action was still rippling through the galaxy. In hushed diplomatic chambers and public forums alike, the name Earth had acquired a new weight, not of threat, but of certainty. Where other powers might bluff, stall, or manipulate, humanity had demonstrated what it meant to act with purpose. For some species, it was a moment of awakening. Several regional coalitions began reforming their own internal governance, adopting elements of Terran legal clarity. Even the ancient Drael Confederation, a civilization known for its slow and ponderous decision-making, adopted a new code of immediate consequence for treaty violations. To Earth's leadership, however, the episode was not a triumph. It was a warning fulfilled. Dr. Naomi Vestra delivered a second address, far less publicized than the first, but circulated in council archives. We do not wish to lead through fear. But let none doubt, we will not debate our right to exist safely. Let this be the last correction we must ever make. Yet whispers continued. Who else had crossed invisible lines without knowing? What new standards would Earth enforce next? The galaxy was now watching humanity, and more importantly, it was watching itself. Balance, it seemed, had a new enforcer, the silence before the storm. For over 700 years, the Galactic Council stood as a monument to diplomacy. More than 1,000 species forged peace through discussion, trade, and carefully worded treaties. Wars were rare, negotiations were sacred, and the unified accord reigned as the backbone of civilization. Then came the humans. They didn't arrive with fleets or demands, but with relentless logic, stubborn ethics, and terrifying clarity. Earth joined the galactic stage late, yet in just 150 years, humans had mediated peace, rebuilt collapsed wormholes, and salvaged dying trade routes. They were brilliant, cooperative, tireless, but also cold when crossed. Unlike other